Josh Hartnett, Josh Hartnett, Josh Hartnett! Sorry that I have been missing the last couple of weeks. I've been on vacation, but now I dove right back into the movies. I got to see a bunch of movies in the theater recently, and we're starting that batch of films with the 2024 Trap. Cooper is a firefighter who has secretly been moonlighting as a serial killer known as the Butcher. When he takes his teen daughter to a pop concert, he soon realizes that the concert has actually been set as a trap by the police to capture the serial killer, as a cat and mouse game ensues between the cops and Cooper as he tries to escape.
You know the Butcher? The freaking nut job that goes around just chopping people up? Well, the feds or whatever heard that he's gonna be here today, so they set up a trap for him. This whole concert? It's a trap.
Written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, who I do really love as a director. Unbreakable is one of my favorite movies of the past, 30 years. A couple years ago, I saw Old, which, was alright, except for the twist ending, which was horrible. And so, I felt like I was kind of giving up on M. Night Shyamalan.
I'm done.
Well, this movie, Trap, is a return to form for him. M. Night Shyamalan is a high-concept person for when it comes to his movies. He has some sort of gimmick that draws in the audience, right? Sixth Sense is about ghosts. Unbreakable about superheroes. Signs is about aliens. Old is about people aging on a beach. And sometimes the execution around those concepts are not very well done, and sometimes they are incredible. And I thought overall for this film of Trap, generally he did a pretty good job. I love this concept of a serial killer being trapped at a concert, even though that is so far-fetched and the police in real life would never actually do this kind of thing. This movie is definitely a little bit of Star Wars, in the sense that you have to shut your brain off for everything. It's total fantasy, and if you have that mindset going into this movie, I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it like I did. If you are going to nitpick everything that M. Night Shyamalan is doing, you will take apart this movie no problem. His movies are an experience film. It's not meant to tell you, the most interesting and thought-provoking and, in-depth analysis of a subject, but he's really just trying to put us in the driver's seat of whatever character that we're following. And in this case, it's Cooper. And now he's at this point where he has been cornered. And it's so interesting to watch his character try and claw his way out of that corner. I love movies like that, where it's just an intense, pulse-pounding cat and mouse game. It kind of reminded me of watching the movie Inside Man. The cops are always one step ahead of him, but he's trying to always get one step ahead of them, and he is in some ways. And I just love the dynamics that M. Night Shyamalan presents on screen in this film. He is having a lot of fun, you can tell. Obviously, he makes a cameo in this, and he's Lady Raven's uncle or something like that. And Lady Raven is actually M. Night Shyamalan's daughter in real life. Nepo much?
Snooty?
Snotty.
Snotty.
And he's pulling out all of the tricks out of his bag that he has used in the past to make his movies interesting, but also not relying on, I'm gonna have a huge twist at the end of this movie.
What if it turns out they aren't terrorists, but they're actually werewolves from the future?
He actually was telling much more of a straightforward story with a different perspective. And yes, this movie is half of a concert film as much as it is half a thriller suspense film. And I thought he had some great shots in this movie, had some really cool moments. There's some awesome performances at the front of it, especially from Josh Hartnett, who I'm a big fan of. I've always been a fan of him.
You're welcome.
And it's so nice to see over the last 6-7 years, he's kind of had this resurgence. I think this is probably one of my favorite performances from him, even though at points the character, because he's a serial killer trying to be a goofy dad, he's putting on the mask of being that loving, goofy sort of father, and he's kind of not the greatest at it. The acting seems a bit bad and cheesy at first, but once you realize as you keep watching the film that that's a part of that, it's intentionally doing that, you see how intentional it is and how this character grows and is revealed throughout the course of the movie. And then by the time you get to the third act of the film, you see him in full effect. And I don't want to spoil anything, but it's so awesome to see kind of that performance get sewn and weaved throughout this story. And I think Josh Hartnett does a great job. This movie is actually really funny at times. Like, there are a lot of laugh out loud moments, intentionally and sometimes unintentionally. Very funny at parts, which I was quite surprised about with this movie.
Ha ha, very funny, motherfucker.
He had all these people in this stadium that put on a concert by Lady Raven and filmed it and did a really great job with that. So the experience of this movie is awesome, and the tone and the pace is just thrilling, and it captivates you pretty much the whole time. By the time you get to the second half of the film, you're like, where is this movie going? Especially there's a moment between Cooper and Lady Raven that kind of changes the entire movie. And I love that he chose to do that. Holy crap. Wow, this is really interesting. Generally, this movie does a pretty good job of what it's trying to achieve. And I really did have a good time with it. Now, is this movie perfect? Absolutely not. The songs in this movie, I know it's written by Shyamalan, and she does a pretty decent job of portraying Lady Raven, but like the songs aren't that catchy, and I was hoping to come out of this movie with like a banger or something like that, just a great song that stuck in my head, and none of it was really that great. So I thought the soundtrack was a bit weak at times. There are some definite writing issues with this movie. M. Night Shyamalan is not known for writing, you know, the most intriguing and interesting dialogue, and it's done in a very stylistic way. Like, people don't talk how characters talk in the movie.
Oh, talkity talk, yeah.
And also some of the plot points in this film, like how Cooper is attempting to get out of this building and how he finds out information from the cops and stuff like that. There are definite some scenes where I was going, yeah, I'm not sure about the credibility about this. The third act of this film is intense and awesome, but it definitely is a bit jolting and jarring. Like, it takes a big turn all of a sudden, and now it's almost in like a different movie. It is a little bit jarring and out of the blue, to the point where it almost took me out of the film in a way. And also, I will say the editing of this movie is a bit wonky. I can't quite put my finger on what exactly about the editing is that I didn't like. If you're not an M. Night Shyamalan lover, if you don't like the way he shoots his films and the way he writes his characters and stuff like that, I can totally see why people won't like this movie. I could see this being a real letdown. I do really appreciate what he did with this film. It was a lot of fun. It is really suspenseful and thrilling. It's a cool cat and mouse genre film. Before I get my final thoughts on this film, if you like this video, please make sure you click that like button and subscribe to my channel for more content. Also, while you do that, comment down below, what did you think of Trap? Is this one of your favorite M. Night Shyamalan films? Did you not enjoy this movie? Where does this rank for you in M. Night Shyamalan's films? Let me know with your questions and thoughts down below in the comments. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Trap a B. Thank you so much for checking out Mr. T's Film Preach. Come back and check out some other video reviews, such as Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler video, Twisters. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you on the next film. Stay focused, stay awesome, and as always, let's get taught.